a doubt in my mind.
because we don't have all the same
Yes, sir. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Board of Commissioners for June 9th, 2022 for the town of Mint Hill, North Carolina. And I'm going to ask Commissioner Long if he'd lead us in our invocation, please.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we ask for guidance and wisdom over this meeting tonight, that we make proper decisions for the citizens for now and into the future. Please comfort those hurting in our community and around our nation. We ask that you watch over those that serve us, fire, police, and others 24 hours a day. And we are humbled by the grace shown us each day. Please help guide us through our actions, that we would love our fellow man. We ask this in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 3, additions, deletions, or arrangement of agenda items.
No, sir.
Nothing. Item number 4, approve the minutes of the April 19th, 2022 called budget workshop and the May 12th, 2022 regular meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Item number 5 is our consent agenda. Accept the May tax collector's report. B, authorize town manager to execute contract with Carolina Cajun Concrete Incorporated for sidewalk construction in the amount of $125,000. And C, accept May's treasury reports and financials.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. Any questions, any conversation? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Item number 6, I'll now open the public hearing on the town of Mint Hill budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. Manager Welch.
Mayor, Board of Commissioners, thank you. I present for your consideration this evening the budget for next fiscal year, beginning July 1 of this year. General fund in the amount of $22,684,788. Powell bill fund, $769,000. Stormwater fund, $540,703. Police forfeiture fund, $50. ARPA fund, $8,800,000. Infrastructure fund, $50. Tourism fund, $325,150 for a grand total of $33,119,741. That is leaving the tax rate at 25.5 cents and no increase in the $10 vehicle fee. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Manager Welch? Hearing none, and the fact that nobody signed up, I'll now close the public hearing on the town of Mint Hill budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. Item number 7 is public comments. Nobody signed up for public comments. There are options that you can have public comments read into the minutes. They require you to send them to us via email. So if we receive them in some other shape or form, they're not going to be read into the minutes, just so that you know with what's going on with that. Item number 8. Whereas during June, National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month focuses on making the public aware of the disease among the U.S. population. And whereas Alzheimer's disease, also referred to simply as Alzheimer's, is a chronic neurodegenerative disease that affects approximately 1 in every 2 families in the U.S., with 5.7 million Americans being diagnosed. And whereas Alzheimer's is the most common form of dementia, a general term for memory loss and other cognitive abilities serious enough to interfere with daily life, worsens over time, accounting for 60 to 80% of dementia cases. And whereas every 65 seconds, someone in the United States develops Alzheimer's disease, and by 2050, an estimated 14 million Americans will have Alzheimer's. And whereas the greatest known risk factor is increasing age, and most people with Alzheimer's are 65 and older. And whereas Alzheimer's is not just a disease of old age, approximately 200,000 Americans under the age of 65 have younger onset Alzheimer's disease. And whereas Alzheimer's is the sixth leading cause of death in the United States, those with Alzheimer's live an average of 8 years after their symptoms become noticeable to others, but survival can range from 4 to 20 years, depending on age and other health conditions. And whereas Alzheimer's has no current cure, but treatment for symptoms are available, and research continues, and today there is a worldwide effort to find better ways to treat the disease, delay its onset, and prevent it from developing. Now, therefore, I, Brad Simmons, Mayor of the Town of Mint Hill, North Carolina, hereby proclaim June as Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month throughout Mint Hill, and urge all of our citizens to support the search for a cure and assist those individuals and families who deal with this challenging disease on a daily basis. Witness my hand and seal of the Town of Mint Hill this 9th day of June, 2022, Brad Simmons, Mayor. Item number 9, discussion and decision of ZC 22-1, filed by Hatisha Mike, conditional rezoning to request a change in zoning from residential to residential CD to allow a residential assisted living care or living for seniors for property located at 8025 Wilson Woods Drive, tax parcel number 137-07624. The applicant has requested a deferral on this item at this time. Item number 10, consider adoption of the Town of Mint Hill budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion, we adopt the budget as submitted.
Second. I have a motion, I have a second. Do I have any further questions, conversation? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Discussion of staggered terms for the Mint Hill Mayor and Board of Commissioners.
You want to let Kevin kick it off?
Let's start on that end, and it's good to have you with us this evening, Attorney.
Thank you, sir. Good to see everybody. We discussed this a bit at the retreat earlier in the year, the possibility of moving to basically 4-year terms here for this board and staggering them. I think the policy benefit of that would be to assure some continuity in every 2-year elections. The idea, if we went that way, would be to have 3 slots up for election in on a 2-year window, and then the other 2 open in the next 2 years, and you'd alternate and end up with either a 3 or 2, folks each time around. Got in your materials, copy of the state statute. If you all are interested, in fact, in implementing that, you could do that by an ordinance process. It is involve public input, very similar to any kind of like zoning text amendment. Sure. Almost. So it's a fairly significant public input process. To the extent it's helpful to you, I took about 15 minutes and took a pass. If you look at the materials, there's a little red line of, hey, it might look like some, this kind of change to your charter. If you wanted to do it, just to give you something to look at, I could improve that writing a little bit, but that was 15 minutes worth of handiwork. And just wanted to open that back up for discussion here, at a regular meeting and see what the thoughts are. Certainly no obligation to do that. And probably some pluses and minuses to it, and let you all talk about it and see what you want to do.
Comments, questions?
I think just for the general public that's watching, the importance of staggered terms would be board continuity. Is there an option, if not for 4-year staggered, to do 2-year staggereds? How would that go?
Oh, you'd have an election every year?
No, I mean, instead of doing 4-year terms, keep it at 2-year, but do them staggered between 4.
But you'd have to have an election every year to maintain that.
Okay. Right.
which you could probably technically do, Mecklenburg County might get a little miffed at you.
Yeah, I'll
you
get,
can't
I'll
do
get
it.
that call, I can promise you that.
Just curious. We're in the discussion
No,
stage
I
here.
agree.
Just
I agree.
throwing it out there. I'm discussing.
All right, so this is a assumption, assuming we went forward with this.
That's right, this is, not even step one. Whether you
Exactly.
all-
We're
whether
just-
you all
we're just
want
talk-
to-
we're
Whether
just-
you all want to take step one.
We're talking about, yeah, we haven't even decided, but if we would go forward with it, then there would be an election held next November, which is our normal timeframe.
Correct.
And we would spell out ahead of that in an ordinance what seats were being put up for 4-year and the others would be for 2 years, and that's how you would kick it
I was
off?
going to say, to kick it off, right, so nobody can change what you all have already been elected to.
Good.
Right, so you all have the 2-year term, you'll have the next election in 2023. And so we just need to decide what 2 seats would get 4-year terms and what 3 seats would get 2-year terms. I mean, you'd get 3 with 2 years and 2 with 4 years, or flip it. Then you would start doing every 2 years, and whatever group would be up would alternate. Hope that makes sense.
A little bit of research revealed that basically what you do is you take your top 2 vote getters. So next election in '23, every seat would be up, and then your top 2 vote getters would get a 4-year term. The next 2 would get a 2-year term, and the mayor would get a 2-year term. So in '25, you would have an election for 3 slots, a mayor and 2 commissioners. And then in '27, you would have an election for 2 slots for those 2 commissioners. And then so forth and so on.
Y'all track it in theory, the top 2 vote getters in 2023 get the 4-year term, and then those 2 slots would be up again in 2027, would be the idea.
Is there any numbers on how many municipalities within Mecklenburg County are on a 4-year term now and how many are on a 2?
Great question. Probably should look that up. I know Pineville switched recently. I know that. I don't know of anyone else right off the top of my head. I know them because they just switched recently, and I'd spoken with their manager when we decided to, when you guys directed us to further investigate this.
Yeah, Harrisburg is 4 years.
I think that's right too, yeah.
Do we have to do the ordinance before we do the public hearing?
So what this is, like Kevin said, this is not even step one.
I'm well aware.
So, there's really not even a decision to make tonight.
Well, yeah, we're not sure.
But by
whether we-
consensus, if you want to pursue this, then you're going to start Kevin on the clock or on the path where basically you'll have an agenda item at the next meeting, which will declare your intent to do this. And Kevin can fix me here if I'm wrong, but that's kind of your public hearing, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll have to advertise it, so many days before this, so many days after that whole ordeal that we do. And then, I guess probably the September meeting would be when you guys would vote to amend your charter. That's what you're doing. You're amending your charter.
You're amending the charter, I say by ordinance, you would have a draft of the ordinance written ahead of time.
That's where I was going now.
So somebody could see, like, the idea of the notice of intent is to let the public know generally we're looking at, and if somebody wanted to know the details,
Right.
the exact words ought to be available there. They don't have to be on the day one of the notice, but they certainly need to be there, and I would say they need to be there before your public hearing.
Right.
So there's no question in people's minds what it is, and then, presumably, you just want to see, what folks say, right? You could open it up and there's no commitment to vote one way or the other. If you want to, you can start that public input process.
Is
No
there a
vote till the end of that. There can't be a vote till the end of that process.
If we do decide to go this route, I'm sure there's a time frame for the election board to have the material so it can be put on the,
It's not going to change theirs.
okay.
Unless I'm missing something, it doesn't change theirs, because again, every seat would be up at the next election. And Lord knows, by the time the next one came around, they'd start to communicate to them, hey, here's what's up for, but it's not going to change their ballot.
For you sitting out there in the room, the reason this conversation came up, it started a few years back when a number of us ran for office, and the cost of running for office and what it costs nowadays to run for office. And if you also notice all the signs around town, that's part of the cost for running for office, and that gets quite expensive. If you'll look at the town budgets, you'll see what the mayors and the commissioners make, and that doesn't offset those expenses in a lot of cases. So if you're going to sit in these seats up here, you really have to want to be a public servant, not try and do it for the money, first of all. But that's why we started looking at it, is one, the cost of the election, and two, the continuity of the board. The way we're set up now, and I hate to point out my friends up there in Cornelius, but it just happened in their past election where the entire board turned over in one election. So now you've got a board with absolutely no continuity, no history of what's going on other than sitting in the audience and seeing what's going on. So there's a learning curve involved in this as well. When we were elected, all of us, when we sat down the first day, didn't have a clue what we were doing up here. And I'm guilty of the same thing. So it's not like we walked into the seats and knew what we were doing. So that's part of the reason for our discussion. Anything else?
For clarity, what would that look like for the mayor? Would that change the mayor's term too?
As written now, I mean, because Kevin's going to write it however you folks tell us to write it, but as written now, it does, but not until the second election, so not until what would be the 25 election. So in 23, it's everybody, and top 2 vote getters would get 4-year terms, next 2 get the 2-year, and then the mayor would get a 2-year. And then in 25, you would have an election for the mayor for a 4-year term and 2 commissioner seats. And then 27, you would have 2 commissioner seats. And then 29, mayor and 2 commissioner seats.
So thereafter, the mayor would be 4-year,
Correct. Beginning with the 25 election.
25, okay.
Correct. And there's no magic to it. That's just,
No, we just want to be clear to everybody that we're not trying to do anything to benefit ourselves is the reason it needs to be set up that way too, so that we're not signing up for anything. All right, how's everybody feel about that? Do we want to proceed with the public hearing and let Kevin start working on draft of the ordinance? And
Yes.
I think so.
I got a yes, I got a yes.
Yes.
I got 3 yeses. You a yes or a no, or you just don't want to talk to me?
I mean, I think it definitely warrants a lot more discussion.
Yep, okay. But we can start him in that direction. We're not voting on any ordinances
Yeah,
or anything
exactly,
like that. Okay.
exactly. But yeah, there's still a lot of questions and all that need to be asked. And,
Well, the public may have some input too that we haven't thought about, so that's always good.
Right, I would say in addition to me doing the legal drafting, we should be good as well to make a little chart and, make it easy to put something up on the board that this conversation we just had, so somebody could, see the dates and see the terms. And, I think we ought to maybe do just in addition to the legal sentences, let's take 30 minutes and, get some pictures that can go up when we do the public hearing.
we'll get them online too.
Yep, and
get
have
them
it
online.
posted ahead of time, and so there's no mystery to it.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that in one page. It'll be a paragraph narrative and we'll do a little chart that,
Ordin-
kind of shows the years and who, that's easy.
Well, and I think that, we've talked about the benefits to doing it, but towns that are in a 4-year term right now, what are some negatives that have occurred because of being in a 4-year term?
Staff has opinions, but you don't pay me for my opinions, so staff's gonna be quiet over here.
Can I get that in the minutes? Staff's gonna be quiet over there. All right, item number 13, other business and council matters. Commissioner,
Planning
So
board.
did we determine that?
I'm sorry. No, item number 12, appointment to the planning board. We're going to defer that till July meeting. We've got some more information we want to gather from applicants. There's a number of applicants that have applied for that position, and we just don't want to rush into anything or rubber stamp anything going forward. We want to make sure that we get some more information from those applicants. So we're going to defer the discussion and the appointments to July meeting. I'm sorry. We talked about that up here right before we started the meeting, and I wrote a note and didn't hit it. Item number 13, other business and council matters. Commissioner Long.
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Holton.
Yes, we've got, all right. I had something here, but it, I lost it. Okay, on Saturday, June 18th, the first family fun night of the summer featuring the band Groove Machine is coming to Mint Hill Veterans Memorial Park. Family fun starts at 6:30 p.m. with the concert starting at 7. And as a special treat, our Mint Hill Fire Department will be on hand spraying water just for the fun of it. Come on out. That's all I have.
Mayor Pro Tem Dalton, follow that.
It's gonna be kind of hard to follow.
Yeah.
On the 21st of this month, the Chamber of Commerce will have their monthly luncheon at Old Sycamore. If anybody's interested in coming, they meet between 11:30 and 1 o'clock and call the chamber to make your reservation. On July 1st, the chamber will also have a coffee connection at the Cadence Senior Living Center from 8 to 9. I attended in May 18th, the CARPO meeting. We were told that we had a person from the state DOT there speaking, that the state of North Carolina is $8 billion behind, underfunded for road work. So they let us know that they know they're not going to tax their way out of this with fuel charges, and they're looking at alternate ways of raising money and funds. So just putting that out there for you, the state's going to be looking at other ways of getting some funding for that. I did attend the Memorial Day service the American Legion put out at the Veterans Park, and it was a very nice event. And I'd like to thank the state, but I think more often than our own town and our Public Works for putting the roundabouts, the signs around the roundabout off of Lawyers and Bain School Road. That was well needed, and the people are really happy that live in that area. And I would like to thank Brian and the town for working so hard on this year's budget and keeping our tax rate the same. That's all, Mayor.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I attended the monthly Mint Hill Police Department Crime Review meeting along with yourself and Commissioner Holton. We've seen some great successes in Mint Hill based on the year-to-date crime comparison over the same period in 2021. Violent offenses are down 74%. Property offenses are down 14%, making the overall index offenses down 23%. There has been a 10% increase in traffic crashes since the last period last year, but as a result, the department is having a greater presence in those high-traffic problem areas. But based on everything that was presented, our police department is doing a great job providing quality police service to the citizens of Mint Hill. Also, the Greater Matthews Habitat for Humanity serves the residents of Mint Hill, and they recently received funding from the Community Development Block Grant to support critical home repairs for Mint Hill residents. This grant supports community development activities in order to build stronger and more resilient communities. And so individuals who have those needs, those funds are going to become available July 1st of this year. I also attended the Memorial Day service on Memorial Day, recognizing all of our those persons who've served. Thank you.
Staff have anything further? Manager? I'm looking around the room, I'm getting no head shakes. Nobody else? I just want to touch on a couple of things. First of all, we want, as a town, to send out our prayers and condolences to the family of Donald Ray Blackburn. He was a commissioner here in town from 1977 to 1984, and he passed away on May the 24th. We were just notified of that recently, so we want to make sure we're in prayer for that family. Commissioner Holton mentioned the spraying the water for no apparent reason. I attended the field day at Bain Elementary School this past week, and there is a reason that we did it, and it's all those crazy little kids that like to run up underneath there and get soaking wet and carry on. So that's going to be a great event for the town. And to piggyback a little bit on the police report meeting that we had today, I've said this many times, and I told them in the meeting this week, when we get numbers from them, when we get numbers from the fire department on what's going on in this town, and we see what's going on in this town with what our staff's doing, what our public works department's doing, I get to go once a month and sit with the other mayors in the county and puff up my chest and tell them how much better we're doing than they are. And it's on the record now that I said that out loud one more time, but we even were able to look at some of the other towns in our area today and what they're doing as far as their decrease in crime. Yeah, they've got some decreases in some of their areas as well, but the numbers that we're getting out of our staff here in Mint Hill with our police department and our fire department are second to none in the county, in the region, and I just haven't done enough research, but I would venture to say in the state as well. So next time you see those guys out working, thank them for what they're doing. Same thing with our fire department. Those guys put in all the hours of training and all the hours of studying, and yet they showed up out there to spray kids with water this week with a smile on their face and happy to do it and enjoyed it as much as I did. So with that being said, nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.